Okay. Hello, everyone. For those who are watching this recording later on, welcome to the District Fundraising Initiatives and Fundraisers webinar. And I am Austin, your host, and I am currently the District Member Recognition and Education Chair. And I would like to credit District Treasurer Nina Nguyen and the past UC Berkeley Vice President Administration and Golden Gate Executive Assistant, Brandon Brego, for first creating these slides that I built off of for today's webinar. So a little bit more about me. I'm an incoming fourth year at UC Berkeley, majoring in economics and political economy. And not only am I this year's Member Recognition Education Chair, I also actually used to be the UC Berkeley Circle K Club Treasurer during the online COVID year from 2020 to 2021. And a quick fun fact about me is that I used to play the classical guitar. Okay, now we'll get into the district fundraising initiatives. So just DFIs are short for District Fundraising Initiative, and it's a very common acronym that many Circle K members use when referring to our 3 DFIs. So this is definitely an acronym that you should commit to memory. So our 3 district fundraising initiatives are here shown on the slide. Our rotating district fundraising initiative for this year is UNICEF. For a quick brief overview, UNICEF supports child health and nutrition, safe water and sanitation, quality education, HIV prevention, and treatment for mothers and babies. As I just said, UNICEF is the rotating DFI for this year, meaning next year there'll be a new DFI in place instead of UNICEF. The other 2 district fundraising initiatives are our permanent district fundraising initiatives. These 2 DFIs do not change, and they will still be DFIs next year. So one of them is the Kiwanis Family House, or KFH for short. And KFH focuses on developing local projects which will reduce the number of children who are killed or injured by trauma. And our second permanent DFI is the PI Trauma Program, or PTP for short. And PTP, just a quick brief overview, provides housing support for families of seriously ill or injured children and adults being treated at the UC Davis Medical Center in Sacramento, California. All right, so now I'm going to go in to give more depth about what these 3 DFIs do and what causes they support. So first off, I'll be talking about UNICEF. So UNICEF stands for the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund. Across more than 190 countries and territories, disadvantaged children struggle to survive, thrive, and fulfill their potential. And UNICEF is the world's largest provider of vaccines, and they support child health and nutrition, safe water and sanitation, quality education, and skill building, and HIV prevention and treatment, and the protection of children and adolescents from violence and exploitation. Around nearly 1,000 children die per day due to a lack of safe drinking water, sanitation, and hygiene, or WASH for short. And UNICEF works to help address these issues. One of the causes that UNICEF supports is emergency and relief aid. And actually, one of UNICEF's signature project efforts targets Haiti's emergency needs with a complete WASH response package, supporting emergency water access, interventions for people in drought-affected areas, and providing internally displaced people with alternative sustainable sanitation strategies. And other causes that UNICEF supports that I won't really get into, but just to mention, good for you to know, include gender equality, innovation for children, delivering necessary supplies, and researching and providing evidence analysis for the aid that they're giving to children. And actually, I have decided that it'll be very engaging for all of us to actually watch a video explaining what UNICEF is. And so I will go ahead and navigate to the video, but for the purposes of the recording, I'll actually pause recording. But for those who are watching this webinar recording, you can find this same video that I'm about to show right now on the CNH Kiwanis channel. And the title of the video is called What is UNICEF? I'll go ahead and pause the recording and I'll play the video. All right, thank you everyone so much for paying attention to that video. And I know that at the end of the video, it was talking about specific things that Kiwanis do to support UNICEF. I decided to just play through that to hopefully give you all some ideas on potential fundraising ideas on what you can do to support UNICEF. Next, I'll be discussing the Kiwanis Family House. So the Kiwanis Family House specifically is a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing temporary housing for families of seriously ill or injured patients being treated at the UC Davis Medical Center in Sacramento or at Shriners Hospital. The Kiwanis Family House is a home away from home for families who must travel at least 35 miles from home to seek medical treatment. Patients and their families often travel long distances to receive treatment at the UC Davis Medical Center and Shriners Hospital, and finding low-cost lodging near the hospital can be important to these families, especially if their patient has a life-threatening injury or illness, and if the treatment period lasts for an extended period of time. KFH, located on the UC Davis Medical Center grounds, offers inexpensive family accommodations with individual bathrooms, fully equipped kitchens, bedrooms, food, enclosed closets, laundry, and hookups for recreational vehicles. KFH also provides free internet access, free long distance telephone calls, counseling, free parking, and a free shuttle bus to the hospital. And to provide further context about what KFH is, I'll actually also play another video which goes into more about it. And again, for those who are watching this webinar recording, I'm going to pause the recording, but you can find the same video by going to the Kiwanis Family House website, and on the menu bar, you go to the menu, and you go to what we do, and under what we do, you click on featured videos. And the video we're going to watch right now is this very first video titled Kiwanis Family House #WeSaveFamilies. All right, for those who are watching the webinar, thank you so much for watching the last video. And now I'm going to discuss more about the pediatric trauma program. So the pediatric trauma program is our second permanent district fundraising initiative. And specifically, pediatric trauma remains the leading cause of death and injury among children ages 14 and under in the United States. This pediatric trauma kills more kids every year than any other cause, including disease and homicide. And each year in the United States, it is estimated around 8,000 families lose a child because of preventable injury. And studies indicate that 90% of these unintentional injuries can be prevented. Recognizing the serious need for education and training in the areas of pediatric trauma and injury prevention, the Kiwanis Cal-Nev-Ha Foundation established a pediatric trauma program in 1994. Specifically, PTP works to prevent pediatric trauma by providing community outreach, education materials to children and families living in various communities. PTP utilizes the knowledge and expertise of partner hospitals to identify projects the Kiwanis family can undertake to address the issue of pediatric trauma, and works to provide the outcomes for children who experience pediatric trauma by providing grants to partner hospitals, which enable them to reach out to communities with educational materials, safety equipment, and information on childhood trauma prevention. And again, I'll go ahead and show a video that I think is very engaging and will explain more about what PTP is. And for those who are watching the webinar, you can find this same video that we're about to watch by going to the CNH Foundation website and go to, on the menu bar, what we do, click on pediatric trauma program, and the video we're about to watch is the first video shown here on this webpage. Right. Hello, welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for engaging and watching that intro video to PTP. And now I'll move on to talking about how you can fundraise for our district fundraising initiatives. Um, and as stated here on the slide, if you ever need help this term in regards to planning and coming up with ideas for fundraising, no worries. Our district treasurer, Nina Nguyen, is here to help you. And yeah, I can't wait to tell you all how to make some cash money. So first, when you first start planning out a fundraiser, is to consider all these different factors. First, your location, particularly will be an online fundraiser or an in-person fundraiser. Just to keep, like, there's just different things to keep in mind when it comes to considering these factors. For example, if it is an online fundraiser, that means that virtually anyone who doesn't go to your home club or your home campus can participate in a fundraiser. For example, some particular restaurant fundraisers, they allow you to mobile order, and that would be accounted towards your fundraiser total. And so that, of course, allows people who are not in the area to participate. However, if you're going to have an in-person fundraiser, of course, just keep in mind the normal logistics that you would consider when planning an in-person location. Is it accessible to your club's members, and just other things like that. Next, consider your audience. Who are you trying to appeal to earn funds? If you are, if the main target of your fundraiser are your Circle K members and other college students, then keep in mind that if there are like any entrance fees or money being donated to the fundraiser, that try to keep that low, because higher entrance fees or higher participation fees would discourage members and other college students from participating in the fundraiser. And next, again, I just talked about price, but also keep in mind that you could play around with the different pricing options when it comes to planning a fundraiser. Maybe, for example, you're planning a large fun event where you have to pay an entrance fee. So maybe consider like charging an early registration or an early entrance fee, and like a different higher fee for coming to the event at the door. And lastly, think about what types of goods or services that you're providing when members pay your entrance fee or donate a fund. Are they receiving like a tangible item, or are you performing some type of action for the people who are donating to your fundraiser? Next, after you consider those basic logistics when it comes to planning a fundraiser, now you need to start planning it. So first is to find a chair to just essentially lead the execution of the fundraiser. Most of the time, this could just simply your club's treasurer or fundraising chair. However, I do know of clubs who have very large scale fundraisers, and they actually appoint a different like ad hoc board member to be in charge of leading that particular fundraiser. But most of the time, if it's like an easy fundraiser with not much planning, the chair could just simply your board's fundraising chair or treasurer. Next, remember to gather the necessary materials and resources. For example, if you are planning a restaurant fundraiser, for example, remember to print out like flyers that people can show to the cashier when they go to the restaurant, or even like a digital graphic with like a QR code people can scan to like to view the flyer and show on their phones. And of course, like any other Circle K event, remember to advertise and promote your fundraiser through your club's media platforms. If you don't spread out the word about your fundraiser, then unfortunately participation will be low. So of course, it's always important to spread word about it and market it. And you, as as a person leading a fundraiser, you put in a lot of time into planning it. So you want to make sure people do participate. And finally, when the fundraiser happens, just relax, have fun, enjoy, and hopefully raise lots of money. So here are some easy fundraiser ideas that most clubs can implement when thinking about their term and like what and how they would fundraise money. So first, I see that a lot of organizations and clubs do some type of gram, like Valentine's Day gram, a like winter holiday gram, basically something, or even on St. Patrick's Day, some type of like gram with like food, candy, or maybe like a nice note involved that can be like sold like during tabling. They can be sold during tabling when you're just doing your normal tabling on campus. And yeah, as I just said, mentioned tabling, grams tabling, it's a great way to just combine fundraising and recruitment all in the same event. Because as you know, as when if you're doing a fundraiser along with tabling, that would ideally attract more people to your table. They'll ask you what you're fundraising for, and you could and when you're answering those questions, you could just incorporate what Circle K is when you explain what the fundraiser is for. I mentioned this several times, but to elaborate more, you can contact a local restaurant in your area and get a percentage of the sales for that day towards your fundraiser. Some common examples include Chipotle, a boba store, particularly Share Tea, Krispy Kreme. I also know that Blaze Pizza also does restaurant fundraisers. I'm sure that we're all familiar with these. And this is also like an easy, low stress fundraiser for your club to organize. Next are bingo cards. I'm sure that we've all seen a variation of bingo card in the past. Like a board member or even a Circle K member can like post like a bingo with various challenges that they will do if someone donates an X amount of money to them. And this is another very easy organizer to fundraise and to conduct it entirely online, so you don't have the stress of in-person logistics. Next, similar to bingos are dares. A particular fundraiser that UC Berkeley does every year is Double Dare Week, in which members can dare other members to do a dare for a certain amount of money, and if the person they dare actually does a dare, then the person who gave the dare will pay that amount they specified, or if the person that they dare decide to not do it, then they would pay that amount. Next, service auction, or like an officer auction. So a very fun fundraiser that you could consider implementing at a general meeting or your club's banquet is an auction where our members can bid and outbid each other for a particular action that an officer will do. For example, for UC Berkeley Circle K, one officer offered to, because we were looking at Berkeley and they had a car at the time, they offered to hang out with whoever won their particular auction to hang out in San Francisco for a day and bring up to 3 or 4 other friends of the winning member. And that proved to be a very successful service auction item, as many members started bidding for that particular service. And that raised a lot of funds for the particular fundraiser we're fundraising for. And another easy fundraiser idea that I'll talk about is paying a member. A lot of other college organizations do this. Typically, also, you could do this at tabling during the day. Members pay a certain amount of money to pay other members in the organization. And yeah, we'll just go ahead and skip this for now. And that's essentially it. That's the end of my webinar. Here, before we formally conclude and get to questions, I'll actually show some useful resources that treasurers and fundraising chairs can utilize to help them throughout the term when it comes to planning fundraisers. First, and just so you all know, these different resources, they were prepared by past district treasurers and past finance and fundraising committees. So first, here is this fundraising database. This fundraising database contains essentially a Google sheet of many different fundraisers that clubs have done in the past, and it gives you a lot of information regarding its logistics to help give you an idea if it's something that you can do. And it's also, as you can see here, ranked differently. On this particular sheet, it's ranked in difficulty. So difficulty at level 1 means it's relatively easy to achieve, all the way up to difficulty number 9. And another helpful resource you can consider utilizing is this treasurer and fundraising manual. This was made by the 2018 through 2019 district treasurer and the district finance and fundraising committee. Oh, and this is taking quite a while to load, so we'll just wait patiently. So yeah, that is more about the 2018 to 2018 treasurer. Oh, fun fact, she also went to UC Berkeley. And yeah, just here are some more information on for treasurers on managing membership dues and budgeting, but also information for fundraising chairs on how you can go about planning a fundraiser. And lastly, here's another fundraising master sheet. This isn't necessarily a district resource, particularly for treasurers and fundraising chairs when you're applying for the Distinguished Treasurer Award or Distinguished Appointed Board Officer of the Year Award, and when you are reporting the amount of funds you raise, this would be a great sheet for you to just make a copy of and utilize throughout the year. Just record all the fundraisers you have and all the revenue you brought in. And as you can see here, this template allows for you to put some notes, and this would be a great resource for you to pass on to your successor when they start planning out their term and what fundraisers they want to do. They can consider what were successful and what were not successful. Right, and that concludes the webinar. But before we get into questioning, I would just like to remind you all that the next Sundown webinar is next Thursday, July 21st at 8 p.m. It's about Kiwanis Family Relations. It's hosted by our District Kiwanis Family and Foundations Chair, Rafael Flores. All right, we'll go ahead and get into questions. If you'd like to contact me anytime on this webinar, feel free to. Here's my email on the slide. And you could also contact District Treasurer Nina Nguyen at treasurer@cnh.org. Yeah, thank you all so much for engaging with this webinar today, and I'm ready to answer any questions.
Are there any awards that clubs or individuals fundraising for the DFIs can earn?
Oh yes, thank you so much, Andrew, for that excellent question. So actually, at the end of each Circle K term is district convention, and at district convention during awards night, the district treasurer will recognize the top 3 clubs who fundraise the most money for each individual DFI, the top 3 clubs who fundraise the most money for the Governor's Project, which is the Born This Way Foundation, the top 3 clubs who fundraise the most money for administrative funds and other charities, and the overall, and also overall the top 3 clubs who fundraise the most money. And as I just mentioned, if you're a club treasurer and you're thinking about applying for the Distinguished Treasurer Award, you'll actually need to report the amount of funds that your club to fundraise throughout the year. Are there any other questions? Oh, and feel free to please raise your hand. I am currently not monitoring the chat.
Hi, so I have a question, Austin, if that's fine. So I was wondering, how can we attract members to help with DFI fundraising?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. So I would say that the number one thing when it comes to attracting members to help support a fundraiser for a DFI is first and foremost educating members on what the DFIs are. I think that is something that a lot of clubs can do better is articulating what the DFIs are, not just at the club's info session, but at future fundraisers. If, for example, like if you're doing some type of like event where members pay like an entrance fee to and an event starts like at a certain time, maybe before you start off with the actual event, like just quickly go over what the particular DFI is and maybe even actually show the videos that I just shown here today that will very much excite members about the DFIs and be more engaged with the fundraiser.
I, I saw one of the videos that there was like a Halloween trick or treat type initiative that the Kiwanis did. Is there anything that, or is there anything similar for Circle K?
Oh yes, are you talking about UNICEF, Andy?
Yes, yeah.
Oh yes, so keep in mind UNICEF is actually our rotating DFI. So UNICEF is just only unique for this upcoming year. As of now, I do not know of any other projects that our district treasurer Nina Nguyen is doing to help support UNICEF. So I would recommend that you follow up with her about that. All right. Seeing that there are no other questions, I'll go ahead and stop the recording and end the webinar. Thank you all so much for coming and have a nice day.